Hey, I'm Katie, the real estate gal in Denver Metro, Colorado, and today I'm answering the question of what is an appraisal gap? So, when there is a loan on a home and a buyer is putting down less than 20%, the lender is going to require an appraisal be done on the home. Now, an appraisal is done by a third-party appraiser. They come out to the home, it's typically 20 to 30 minutes, and they look at the square footage, the condition of the home, the most recent homes that have sold that are within vicinity of that property. They're looking at the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, all sorts of different things. And what the appraiser does is they put it in a report and it essentially spits out what the home is valued at. Now, why that's important is because a lender will not loan more on a home than what it's valued at. So if the appraisal comes in lower than what the buyer has submitted their purchase price, then you have what's called a gap. For example, if the buyer wants to purchase a home for $500,000, but the appraisal comes in at $475,000, there's a $25,000 gap. So initially in the contract, when the buyer submits the contract to the seller, to make it more appealing or more attractive, they can provide what's called an appraisal gap. Now, what this is, it's a price that's determined by the buyer ahead of time, saying how much they're comfortable to go over if the appraisal comes in low. So let's say that's $500,000 home, appraises for $475,000. Initially in the contract to buy and sell, the buyer can say, hey, we're gonna cover a gap up to X amount, and then they can determine what amount it is. So it could be a $5,000 appraisal gap, it could be 10, it could be 25, or it could be full appraisal gap coverage. Now that can be a little dangerous because if the appraisal comes in significantly lower, that buyer has to have that difference in cash or else the contract can fall through. So if the appraisal comes in at asking, then everything is fine. The contract is just going to continue as planned, and the buyer doesn't have to cover any gap. If the appraisal comes in high, even better. It's like free money in your pocket. You already have equity in the home. So for that appraisal gap coverage, it's something that's done during the contract process when the buyer is submitting the contract to the seller. It makes the seller just have a little bit more confidence that if the appraisal comes in low, they're still going to move forward, and the buyer is still going to move forward, and the seller is still going to receive the purchase price that the buyer has said. So that is what an appraisal gap is. It is a good idea to use that in this type of market. It's a seller's market right now, and some of the buyers are exceeding their offers because they want to seem more attractive. So if you have a $500,000 home and someone is saying, you know what, we're gonna submit a contract for $600,000, if the home is going to appraise for $500,000, then it's going to give the sellers more confidence that they're going to receive that actual amount, that $600,000, the initial contracted amount, if there's some gap coverage. So it just adds a little cushion for the seller. So I'm Katie, the real estate gal in Denver Metro, Colorado. If you have any other questions about appraisal gaps or the buying process, the selling process, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in my profile as well as below in near the comment section. So feel free to direct message me. I am also on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So looking forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks so much for watching.